gameranx presents 5 reasons why The Division is having a bad time. Look, ultimately we're being tough on The Division because ultimately we enjoyed it. We thought pretty highly of it, but as many of you guys probably know, this game is an ongoing and evolving thing, and there's been some changes made that don't really work out in the game's favor. And unfortunately, overall, it just seems like The Division isn't holding up to long-term scrutiny and play. So let's get into it, starting off with number 5. As of right now, the crafting system is screwed up and totally awful. The developers released a patch that tripled the crafting requirements of gear, making it really like an insane grind that isn't fun and isn't really rewarding. A high level or endgame player can grind for hours only to be rewarded with practically crap. If you have a crafted item you worked your ass off for that just isn't good enough, you can re-roll the stats, but it really only adds insult to injury. There are a lot of instances of players complaining online that rolling multiple times and wasting hard-earned resources only to get practically nothing in return. It really just leaves a bad taste in players' mouths, especially when the crafting system was okay and decent when the game first released. With the developers ramping things up to seemingly keep up with players, it just hasn't really worked out in everybody's favor and kind of killed the fun. However, this can be turned around because of course this is something that can be fixed in a later patch or update. And I mean, look at Reaper of Souls fixing Diablo's issues with the 2.0 loot system. The Division could have that turnaround, and we really hope it does, because right now crafting sucks. And at number 4, we have a huge amount of cheaters on PC. People were calling this before the game even released, but it seems like it's ramped up since the 1.02 patch. The Dark Zone is really full of different rate of fire cheats, one-shot kills from a long distance with SMGs and shotguns, and even teleporting, which, as you know, is a pain in the ass to get killed by someone who just shows up in your face and one-shots you before you even have a chance to do anything. Also, another thing with the newest update, people already had their new gear score maxed out day 1, which honestly is just kind of a little suspicious and weird. Ubisoft has tried to keep up with these cheaters in the newest update, adding a better way of in-game reporting cheaters. On PC, it's /report and username. They also got rid of infinite health and ammo cheaters, and have even gone as far as instituting permanent bans on PC for cheaters. But for many players, it just seems to not be enough. Community forums are full of people complaining about cheaters. So while there are more systems in place, it seems like Ubisoft and Massive need to do some troubleshooting on the back end to really fix how cheaters operate in the game, because it's pretty widespread. And at number 3, speaking of cheating, something similar, in The Division right now there are too many exploits that are being unfixed or causing the developers to remove things like weekly rewards and daily quests. Too many times the developers have tried to put something out only to have it exploited and ruined by players, so they just remove it. The way I look at it though is, hey, if you put something out there or if there's something in your game that can be exploited, players are going to take advantage. If it's there, you're going to use it. The problem here though is that instead of fixing the exploits, the devs are actually threatening to ban players. For example, the new Falcon Lost was easily exploitable for some players, and Ubisoft has talked about possibly banning those people because they're violating the terms of service. But at the same time, it's in the game and players are just taking advantage. You put it there. You remember Destiny and the famous loot cave? Yeah, eventually it was patched out, but Bungie didn't go widespread banning players who exploited the cave, because that just wouldn't be right, and frankly, I don't think Ubisoft has any right to do that either. I mean, I guess they do have a right, it's their game, but it's just really shitty. And at number 2, one of the more long-term issues with The Division that it's facing right now is that there's nothing really to do when you finish all the story missions. Some people don't like comparing The Division to Destiny, but sometimes it's warranted, especially when you think about it. Destiny has Crucible PvP with tons of different competitive modes, while on the PvP side, The Division only has the Dark Zone. And while the Dark Zone is pretty cool, if you think about it, other than really just ranking up and grinding, there's nothing really to do besides farm for Division tech, which now, thanks to some of the changes that the developers inserted, it doesn't really mean a lot. Now, stuff can be added, and frankly, stuff will be added, but ultimately this just shows that the design of The Division doesn't quite hold up, and this is what makes or breaks a lot of these types of games, is its endgame content. And speaking of endgame content, let's get into number 1. The much vaunted and very overhyped incursions are pretty much pointless, judging by the first one released. They don't even really seem like missions. The Falcon Lost Incursion has been added to the game, and many people were thinking, well, you know, with the hype going, oh, awesome, an endgame raid to really extend the play, something new to do for high-level characters. Awesome. This is seriously what this game needs, endgame raids, right, to fill out that content? Well, that's where it was overhyped and really just totally sucks. So it's just basically a glorified horde mode. You fight off waves of NPCs, then drones, then more NPCs, and there's an APC and turrets and a few different designated choke points that never change, and it's just no fun. There's not really any sort of adventure or progression or really anything for the player to do or engage in. It's just not fun, and like I said, these types of games live and die by their endgame content, and judging by Falcon Lost, things ain't looking so good. Despite that though, this is Massive's first try at an endgame update, and hopefully maybe new incursions that are added down the line fare better than this one. Because frankly, the Division is at a turning point right now. It's still probably a lot of fun for players who are playing at a slower rate and not chugging through immediately or just bopping around with friends, hit the higher levels and reach endgame content. The cracks are starting to show, and it's a damn shame because people want to love this game because it does have some really unique elements. I do really hope a lot of these things can be updated and addressed and changed, and hopefully Ubisoft and Massive are listening to the players. But time will tell. We just wanted to give you guys an update of how the Division is doing, and we want to know what you guys think down in the comments. If you are playing the Division, we really want to hear your input on things. I seriously feel like people who are taking their time with the game are still having fun, but if you're more of a hardcore player, you're probably bored by now. Let me know if that's true. Let's talk down in the comments. Of course, you guys know the deal. If you like this video, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. We really appreciate you liking, watching, clicking, sharing, whatever. And if you are new, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.